Hello, I am going to talk to you about how to use your ArtFoamies. So I get this question a lot because I've been doing a lot of work with ArtFoamies. We have some stamps over there right now that I did with Kae, the owner, called Calendar Girls. And I've done some limited editions in the past. So I get a lot of questions on how to use them, how I like to use them. So I thought I would just do a video on all the different ways that I like to use them, how I clean them. That's like my #1 question. And I have a whole bunch of ArtFoamies here that are currently in their shop from different artists. So you'll find them on my description, I guess. Just go to ArtFoamies. These are all there. They're so fun. They're all newer, so you'll see them kind of right when you get in there. But anyway, there's so many fun ways to play with them. So I like to use them as kind of more of a traditional, like I stamp on it, I color it, I cut it out. I have so much fun playing with them. And then for me, I like to color them with watercolors. Now, Kae, the owner, she likes to use a lot of more water-soluble methods, and she gets more, because there's just so many options. She likes to get more of a like watercolory feel. So I can show you my version of that. I like to use scribble sticks for like a more watercolory version. So we'll go through all the different ways, but they're just so fun, and the designs over there are great. And then once I'm done, you know, I like to put my ArtFoamies in my journals, so that's how I personally use them. And you can see here, these are the Calendar Girl ArtFoamies that are currently in the shop. I'm trying to think of where I put them all. Here's another one. I added some arms on mine. I have a paper doll part stencil in my shop. Here's another ArtFoamie. And you can add arms to some of them, so I just thought that was fun. Here's another one. So I like to put them in my journals. It's a fun way to play. And I have a ton of ArtFoamies over here. So let's get started because I don't want to take too much of your time. So what I like to use is a watercolor paper that's like preferably 90 pound or so. Or these Bristol smooth surface papers are also perfect, I've been finding. I'm not doing intense watercolor, but you do want, for some of the techniques I'm going to show you, I like using a paper that's good with absorbency, because that's how I'm going to use the stamps. So I'm just going to grab my favorite stamp right now, which is Kae's. I don't know what she calls this, but she has two. She has one with the boa constrictor and then one with this like cheetah jaguar on top. These are fabulous. So the first way I like ArtFoamies is to use them just like a regular stamp, depending on the ArtFoamie. So not all ArtFoamies have the same patterns and designs, but when I have something intricate like this stamp, a stamp pad is going to work just fine. The thing to keep in mind is that this is a really absorbent surface. It's not like rubber. It's a foam with bigger holes. So if you're going to use an ink pad, you just want to make sure that it is fully inked. Like you don't want a semi-dry ink pad to get on your ArtFoamie. It's just not going to yield like the best results. And then you're going to push down. And you know, ArtFoamies are a little bit different than a traditional rubber stamp. They're really great for mixed media art. The impressions look a little bit different because the the foam is a little bit different. Super, super cool. So as you can see, that came out great. It looks awesome. You can really see the detail. Now I have another foam here, and this one has a lot of like a flat surface. So you can use ink, but you really, again, you really need to make sure that it's inked up. Or you can take some paint. So I have some black paint here, and it can be any color. I'm just using black because I just do. And they usually have these over at ArtFoamies. I also use like just a regular foam. And you can use this to apply your paint all over your ArtFoamy. I'm going to put some more paint on there. You just want to swirl it around. You don't want it in a big blob on your little stamper. And you use this to apply paint to your ArtFoamy. And the paint is good too. I'm using acrylic. Acrylic is good for, again, that broader surface that you need to cover. The broader surfaces are going to take to paint a little bit better, or you'll get a better impression, you know, as opposed to struggling with the ink. And usually where I know there's wide spaces, I'll give it a little bit more of a pressing down. And look at that, it comes out perfect. Now, I have just used paint on here. So I usually go immediately to the sink and wash the paint off because you don't want the acrylic to sit on your ArtFoamy. But I can't get to the sink because this is a video. So I am going to spray it with water, okay, until I can get to the sink. And I'm going to make sure to wash that. So another way to use ArtFoamies, I'm going to get another one here. Got this really cute clown. Is I'm going to use scribble sticks. And oh, I'm sorry. This is something that people have been doing for years. I know Dina Wakley likes to use her scribble sticks on her stamps, so I like using her scribble sticks as well. She has all kinds of great videos on how she does that, but they works great with ArtFoamies too. And I just get the best results from these scribble sticks. Personally, I just love them. The pigment is really awesome. And sometimes I use like more than one color just for a little variation. Now, when you use this technique, you're going to get a different look altogether. It's going to be a lot more serendipitous when you pull it up. But it looks really cool. And again, you know, when you have the pigments and things like that on there, you probably just want to wash that off right away in the sink. Or, you know, with the scribble sticks, you can certainly wipe it off with the wet wipe if you need to. Now, as far as coloring, I like to use watercolors. So I just have such a big palette, I can't really put the whole thing in. And oh, I got one of the kids' brushes. Okay, that should be interesting. So as far as the watercolors, I just like using those as a coloring tool because I tend to work with watercolors a lot anyway. But they allow you to fill in quite a bit. And they give you that option. So if you're doing it on watercolor paper, like I am, I need my paper towel here. Because the paper is wet, you can kind of play around with adding different color variations. And I like that. It just adds like a different look to your paper. This brush is not great. Okay. So again, it's just a fun way to add color. You've seen it here, folks. I'm using a kid's brush. You can do art with anything. You just might not enjoy it. I like a challenge. So I'm just filling it in. And I'm not really trying to capture a lot of details or anything like that. I'm just getting some color on here. So that so that she has some interest on there. You know, it just adds a little more something. Now, normally I would let everything dry before I start a new layer, but I'm working quickly here because it's a video. Add some color. This brush is like so funny. Good Lord. Okay. All right. So, but look how cool that looks. Just watercolor with the ink. It looks awesome. And I'll also, you know, I'll use things like water soluble crayons. You can color things in this way. And add water. You can always use paint as well. It's kind of up to you. But everything works well. There's just so many options. And I just love the designs too. I mean, everything is so fun. Especially these that I'm playing with. I picked all my favorite new things because they're so awesome. And even with the water soluble crayons, oh, look at that. I have real brushes in that. Thank God. Okay, there we go. You still have a lot of options for coloring. And, you know, for something like this look looks very different. You know, I might leave some of these spaces. Sometimes with the scribble sticks, you can kind of reactivate around the edges, which is fun. So instead of having like really bold white spaces, you still want that kind of more watercolor look. You can just add some more water back in and just use the colors. It's gonna be too dark. Oops, got a huge water bubble. So I'm just picking up color from one spot and adding it to another. So just another fun way. So you can really use just about anything. You can use ink. Just make sure that if you're going to do ink, you're going to be using a permanent ink. If you're going to use acrylic, just make sure that as soon as you're done, you're going to wash your ArtFoamy. You can use water-soluble crayons or pencils. Those yield a really cool watercolor look. And then once you're done, you can cut everything out and you'll have really amazing bits to use in your journals, in your mixed media projects, for just about anything. It's just, I mean, how awesome are these? And I think right now I picked a lot of the newer styles so that people can actually go over there if they see stuff they like. It's actually there, as opposed to some of my older stuff is just not available anymore. So anyway, so fun. Go check them out. But I hope these tips helped you as you're working with your ArtFoamies, because I just get asked at least like once a day how to care for my ArtFoamies, how I like to use them. It's just, you know, so many fun ways to play. So I hope this found you helpful, and I'll be back for more videos.